Hey guys, so today we'll be talking about Weird West. Now, Weird West was a game that came out back in 2022. It wasn't a game I was very interested in, but I was curious. I just saw the review on IGN and I wanted to play the game. But I wasn't good at twin stick shooters. I didn't even know certain genres of games. I didn't know about twin stick shooters, so it wasn't a game I understood. So I played it a little, but I didn't really like it. But I had this feeling that this was a game I'll probably come back to some years later and I would find very interesting. And I'm glad I did. I played Weird West and this time I beat the game. And to be honest, it's one of the best games I've played ever. It has a lot of unique aspects. At the same time, it has a lot of negative aspects. Now, the story begins with a certain character. I'm not going to give much info. I'm just going to be very bleak about some of the details in case you do want to play. But just know you're going to have 5 playable characters. Now you do have what you call posses. Now posses are the people who become your companions throughout the entire story. Now there are posses that you meet on the way. As you journey through the Weird West, you meet some posses that maybe they were in trouble and you saved them, or maybe you help them with some sort of mission, so they want to join you on your quest. This is where the game gets more interesting. Your posses can actually die, and when I mean die, permanently die. So it makes you very careful about how you attack because you don't just go head on. You have to strategize, thinking, if I make this attack, will I come out of it? Or will they come out of it? You are going to obviously come back, but not your party members, and that's nice. And at the same time, you most of your bosses you can get them into true story expansions as you progress throughout your story. At the same time, you can also get them in taverns and bars, and they'll join you. And then there are also people, let me say, on a mission. These are people who are probably not attached to your mission. Maybe there are people who were caged, captured. You free them, they will help you. They'll become your friends for life. So anytime you're in trouble and you are in dire need of help, they will appear out of nowhere and just come to help you. And that's actually nice because it just it gives this game a lot of depth and it kind of makes your choices have consequences. Like you could attack some enemies in their base. If a person escapes, if one of the enemies sees you kill the boss and escapes that environment, just know they will tell gang members, and while you're traveling on the road, you will be attacked. So there's just a lot of occurrences that happen. Like when traveling, you could actually be stopped randomly on your journey by gang members, by wolves, by zombie flesh-eating monsters, by anything. You could be stopped by anything. And the Weird West is a place that is unpredictable. Now, when you get used to the game, you're going to get used to some of the occurrences and mechanics that take place within the game. So they won't really be much of a surprise anymore. But it doesn't take away the fun aspect. Now, you see, everything I've said so far are the good aspects of the game. And like I said, you have 5 characters you're going to play as, and each and every one of them have their special abilities. Now, on the left hand side, you have abilities that are special and unique to these characters. Then, on the right hand side, those abilities are basically shared by everyone. The problem with these abilities, especially on the right hand side, is they become busy work. And what I mean is this, they want you to grind for every character. It's a different thing if abilities were like the ones on your left, but the ones on your right are the same set of abilities for every single character, and as a result, it kind of makes the game a bit repetitive. It just feels like an unnecessary grind because you've done this before for another character. So why don't you carry them over? Now, the only thing that stays permanently now, for every ability tree, you have to equip, you have to fill up the character's ability tree throughout their entire journey, which means that for every character, if you really want to get the full experience for that character, you have to grind. Now, the ability aspect is a bit hit or miss, so I would only suggest just focus on the left hand side. You can focus on some aspects of the right hand abilities, but those are not really the best parts of the game. The best parts are the perk system. Now, the perk system are the ones that are actually permanent. So you have these cards that you find all over the world. If you actually get those cards, you can unlock new ability, new perk trees. Now, the perk trees are abilities that just help your character overall, like the dive jump. It can make it longer, or maybe the damage from your guns, or maybe the amount of health that you receive when using a health pack. There's just a lot of things that the perk system actually gives, and I feel like the perk system is actually the best part of the game, not really some aspects of the ability tree, but overall, it's still great. Like I said, the perk system for me is the best aspect. Now, another thing I think I do appreciate about Weird West is the layout. Now, there is a map that shows you different environments, but at first, that map is covered in black. And the more you progress throughout the entire game, the map begins to open itself and you realize how big and vast the world is. Then when you do enter a certain zone, now this was a very creative decision that I do appreciate and I really loved, is that the layout is actually a map. You are literally standing on a map. And the reason how you know that is that when you get to the edge, you actually see can actually see the torn aspects of the map. It's just pretty cool when you look at it, and I like the fact that the developers of the game actually did this kind of layout. It just makes it distinct. When you play a game like this, you know that, yeah, this is what makes the game stand out. Let me get to the aspect of this I really don't like. Now, every environment are almost alike. Every single environment are almost alike. Now, you enter a different environment, you say, okay, I'm entering this environment. You can tell that it's the same building or structure as the one you left. And I know that this is not really a very big game with a very big budget, but I would have loved it if they could actually make very distinct environments. Now, the environments that actually stand out are the ones that are attached to story missions. Those are the ones that really stand out because they are attached to the progression, the actual progression of the game. The rest are mostly for bounties. And oh, actually almost forgot to mention there are bounties in the game. You could go, since the Western game, you could actually go on bounties and then capture the person, bring the person in dead or alive. Now, the thing is this, if you kill them, you go back to the town where you actually took the bounty from, because you don't just take bounties, you take them from a specific town that is actually hunting or puts a haunted or wanted poster of that particular criminal. You go to that town and then the sheriff pays you the amount that was already stipulated on the wanted sheet. But if you do bring the person alive, now, like I said, there is a choice system here. You can have conversations, and in the end, some of the decisions you make will determine how the outcome of certain battles will turn out. You could actually be stopped on the way traveling, you could actually be stopped by a group of bandits, and they could tell you to pay them or they will kill you. So you could either decide to screw it, that will kill them, or you could pay them and they will leave you alone. It depends on you. But there's always this set of randomness within the game. Now, when you get now back to the whole bounty system, when you do bring them alive, this is what's actually funny. They will eventually escape, but they will remember you and they will come for revenge. And that's kind of cool because there's just a lot of randomness that takes place within the game. I like the fact that the developers actually wanted to make things very random just to keep things very exciting. So you couldn't fully predict the game. Overall, Weird West is a very interesting game. It's a game that I won't say is underrated because both from the critics and players' reception, it's actually decent. And I just like to bring people's attention to games that I find very interesting. And this is a game I really feel is worth your time. So if you haven't played Weird West, I advise you and I recommend you go and play it. It's actually a really interesting game. Now, sure, the end game I was a bit unsatisfied with, but overall, it's a great experience. It's a game that you would play once. You might not really want to play it again because there is very little reasons to go back to. Because when you finish the game, you actually do finish the game. The new game plus options aren't really there per se. But overall, I say this is actually a very good game. So if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Thank you, and on to the next video.